It is Tuesday, November 16th, and I'm going to be doing a drive from my house in northeast Minneapolis to my gym in St. Paul, Minnesota. I want to make a note that I will be taking the longer route, so there will be no highway driving on this trip. It will be mostly city driving, but just like my previous videos, I will be fast forwarding through the boring parts. So we're going to start out by just seeing if I can just turn FSD on from my driveway here and see what it does. So there's obviously some obstacles, some cars, and some dumpsters. And some pretty fat squirrels around here as they're getting ready for winter, so we'll see how it does here, but let's go for a drive and see how it does. Hey, look at that, it actually worked. So I've tried it a few times. I don't know if I put it in any of my videos, but I have been so far unsuccessful in getting it to take the right turn out of my driveway, even though it initially indicates that. However, this time it was a little erratic with the wheel movements there, but it figured it out correctly, so that was pretty cool to see. Just want to call out again that intersection that we just got through. You know, it still is a problem as far as the hesitation. The car overly hesitates, just like this one here. So when they do start addressing these things in future builds, they'll be apparent very quickly just coming out of my driveway, as the car right now obviously still struggles a little bit with these. Alright, the car's hesitating way too long there, so just giving it a bit more throttle input just to get it to get going. So as I mentioned on my last video, you know, the car from 10.3 to 10.4, I mean, the braking inputs, as I mentioned, have been, you know, drastically improved. The car is much smoother on most braking inputs. I mean, there's still spots where it likes to jam on the brakes, but overall, it is much smoother than 10.3. But areas that are still very hard for it, you know, the left and right turns, when there's traffic coming from the left, it really struggles to either confidently pick it up and move, or it just hesitates much too long. So I always have to, you know, then intervene to tell the car to go. So, you know, I'm guessing those will be pretty big focus areas for 10.5, as I know they initially set out in 10.4 to really address turning onto busy roads and correctly handling those, or more correctly handling those situations, but they still remain to be an issue for FSD. So I'm going to nudge the car here, and I'm going to take over here. It kept wanting to go to the right, and so the car behind me wants to get around me, so. I wanted to see what it would do there, but yeah, it's still trying to just go and not seeing the cars behind the car in front of me here, which definitely is a problem. So I'm gonna definitely report that. So that kind of highlights again, just when it gets a bit busier, FSD really struggles to kind of keep up and act confidently in a timely fashion. It just takes too long, and then when it decides to go, it seems to always be, you know, reacting too late, or just, you know, with the wrong input. Like there, it wanted to turn left when there was obviously cars coming. So, but we'll see how that changes, right? This road we're on now, St. Anthony Parkway. There's a lot of areas where it kind of currently, you know, hesitates either too much on or just downright struggles with. So it'll be a good test loop for me, at least going forward, that I'll be kind of comparing the updates against. call it there again with that four-way stop. The car does a great job of dealing with the Minnesota nice drivers, which like to, wave everybody else around them, through the intersection, even though that they got there first. The car hesitates just in enough time, I think, to make sure the other people aren't going to go, and then it confidently proceeds. So that's been something that's been consistently, in my opinion, pretty darn good through the releases. It's just the only thing with four-way stops that seems to still remain a problem is when there's no cars there, the car hesitates a bit too long. But when there seem to be cars present, the car handles the situation usually pretty good, pretty well. And then I only have to sometimes interact where I have to apply some throttle input to tell it to go. But again, that's usually when there are no cars at the intersection. So no regressions there so far in 10.4 that I can see. Alright, I'm taking over there. I'm not sure why the car gets lost there. It really just has to go straight. So I don't know if I can blame that on navigation or just the planner just taking the wrong route based on what it sees. But either way, I'm going to report that. So again, the car I think there should have just stayed in the left lane or stayed to the left. The car behind me wasn't too close, so I just kind of let it do its thing there. But it should have stayed to the left. So again, I'm just gonna report that as I, the human driver, would not typically make that change. I would stay to the left. If I was gonna get over to the right, I would signal. So, and that's how most drivers in this area would take that stretch of road there. So in my opinion, that behavior should change. So another thing there, it's not a big deal, but the car should really stay to the left there again and shouldn't take the right. And it's very similar like a bypass lane on like the rural highways where the car will definitely want to use them at any chance it gets, whether there's a car in front or not. So and we'll report that, but again, that's a very minor thing, but it's more or less it's more jarring when you're on a rural highway and it sees a bypass lane and it just jacks the wheel to the right to make the bypass lane when you're doing 55. It's a bit jarring. So I'm guessing that would all kind of be handled by the same change, be it this piece of road or a rural highway. So that was pretty cool there. The bus was pulled over to the side there, so the car properly, went around it. It didn't even hesitate, it just did it. So that was pretty cool to see how confident it was. And having done this drive from, in 10.3, the last time I did this drive, the car wanted to stop on the tracks. This time I don't see that being a problem. It actually looks like it gave some room between us and the next car in front of us to not do that. So that's pretty cool. I'll have to do this again with another drive just to make sure that's actually the planned behavior. But so far it looks like an improvement over 10.3. A little hesitation kind of making that left turn there, at least just getting going, but the car, I didn't have to actually intervene at all. The car did its job, and recovered quickly enough and made a good left turn. So a bit of sudden braking there. I don't know if it's because it picked the bus up kind of late after it made the turn or what, but you know, nonetheless, it got the car stopped and slowed down enough before the bus would have been approaching. So. And just like before, the car definitely wants to make this turn. So it inched out into the intersection here, and it keeps nudging forward as if it wants to go here, but obviously it's not clear to do so. So honestly, I appreciate the assertiveness. It's a busy intersection here, so well, you might get a few opportunities to turn on red. They don't come often, but it looks like we're about to see some open space here, so it should start its turn here in a few seconds. So I don't know why it hugged the line there. It did a bad job of kind of getting over into the lane of traffic. It made the turn just fine, but the actual merging was not so good. So I took over there, but definitely want to report that. And that happened earlier today, obviously, again, where it, on a different drive, where it turned right and then, you know, hugged the shoulder where it, you know, it's not a driving lane. Not sure why the car was slowing down there, if it was because of the crosswalk or what, but there were no pedestrians that I could see back there, so I'm going to report that, but it just doesn't make any sense why it slowed down there. It wasn't jarring, but it was just enough to be kind of annoying, so. Car did a great job there, that left turn. I was anticipating some more traffic kind of coming from the other direction, but looks like we caught a little bit of a break there, so pretty uneventful. Alright, car's slowing down here for, looks like it's because of this car here that's stuck itself out in the intersection. Because it wasn't going, we shouldn't have yielded to it like as much as we did there. I'm fine with a little bit of, you know, hesitation, but that was a bit too much. It doesn't take much to surprise the driver behind you who may be incorrectly tailgating. Minnesotans have a habit of doing that here, where they tailgate the heck out of people, but you know, the car shouldn't have hesitated as much. That person was stuck out in the middle of the intersection a little bit, but they weren't moving and trying to go, so the car should have just went around them and not hesitated as much. So something, hopefully we'll see a change in behavior with the coming builds. So I'm going to take over here. The car hesitated too long and then, you know, was going to put us in a not so good position there. I couldn't tell if that car from my right side was turning or not, but it looks like it was turning. But even so, again, it just hesitates too long on those left turns where cars are coming from both directions, and eventually puts itself. It seems like it's just reacting too late. So when it finally does decide to go, it's too late, and it lost its opportunity to where to comfortably go. So something that I really hope they apply a lot of focus on in 10.5, because the left and right turns on busy streets is still a struggle. So the car again just abruptly hits the brakes before getting to the point at which it needs to stop at the intersection there. Again, I don't understand why it does that. The car that was turning right back there was in no way, shape, or form going to interfere with us. So I really don't like that overly cautious behavior. To me, that's unsafe, because the car wants to just jam on the brakes. And again, right here, it seems like it should see an intersection there, a stop sign, but none exist, obviously. So I'm not sure why the car stops there, if it's just bad map data or what. And if it is, well, I've said it 100 times, but Tesla really, you need to update your maps. So it's been almost over a year now. So, and that, to me, it needs some work there. And again, I just want to kind of call out the car again, jamming on the brakes there. This person obviously getting super impatient that I'm not doing 20 over the speed limit. So they're more than welcome to go around me and do 50 miles an hour through a 25. That's not my jam. Car did a great job there, not overly hesitating. Obviously there's no cars there in previous builds. It's really struggled to take. It's taken its time to get through that intersection when there's no cars there. So I think that is an improvement from what I can tell. Very similar to a four-way stop by my house, where it continuously struggled in 10.2 and 10.3, and now in 10.4 it no longer has issues with it. So there are definitely some good things in 10.4 that need to be called out. All right, and this is our last turn for the drive here. A left turn. What normally is a pretty busy intersection this time of day. You got traffic oncoming that turn left and go straight, so I'm going to be covering the brake and the throttle here just so it doesn't jam on the brakes too much here. All right, I'm going to hit the accelerator here as we have a window to go here. We need to take advantage of that. And again, the car, very frustrating there. So you hit the accelerator, and it seems like it wants you to hold it longer. To me, it should have enough confidence to go. And then right at the end there, it hit the brakes for that stop sign that's not even facing our direction. So I'll report both of those things in that one report. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.